Okay, this slide is talking about Aladdin and the Wonderful Lamp. Okay, this slide is, what is this story about? The story is about a young boy who was very mischievous. His father wanted him to become a seamstress and make his living that way. Aladdin was very rebellious. He liked being bad, hanging with his friends, and stealing. Aladdin's dad eventually dies from worrying about him. And one day he meets this African musician that tricked him into believing he's his long lost uncle off his daddy's side. The magician buys him expensive clothes and made promises to help him get a new business and live a upstanding life. The magician gives him a ring and tricked him into going into a cave to get a magical lamp. While he was in there, he got the lamp, and on the way back, he saw a lot of jewels, and he decided to keep them for himself and keep them, put them on his body or whatever. And when he makes it back, the uncle tells him to get him the lantern, and he'll let him up. He didn't believe the uncle. He was like, "Let me up." And since he wouldn't get him the lamp, the lantern, the man locked him in his cave. So, being in distraught despair, Aladdin rubs the lamp, and a genie appeared, and the genie, he was able to make a request to get him out of there. So he goes home and tell his mama about it. His mama rubs the lamp, and when she rubs the lamp, a genie appeared, and she passed out. So Aladdin think his mama passed out because she was hungry, because they was poor. He asks for some food, and the genie grants him a request to get this food to serve on some nice, expensive platters. So his mom wakes up and they eat the food or whatever. She tell him never to tell anyone about this lantern to keep him from being harmed or tricked or whatever. So he decides to use the lantern to sell. Well, he didn't use the lantern. He decided to use the platters that the food came on and sell like into town to people. And first somebody bought them for pennies, and then he found a man who gave him what the platters was worth. So while he made the exchange, some soldiers came through saying that all the shops need to close up because the princess was coming through and she was going to take a bath, and they need to close their shops up. So Aladdin was able to see Jasmine, and when he saw her, he just instantly fell in love with her. So he went home and told his mama about Jasmine and said he wanted to marry her. So he asked her, can she go to the Sultan and offer him all the jewels he got out of the cave. And every time she'll go, she could never be seen. So she kept going. Then finally, the Sultan recognized her, told his like his right hand man to tell her that if she come back again, he will acknowledge her, because he know that she been coming and he never got a chance to see her. So she goes back again, and she get him all these gifts and jewels on the platter that Aladdin asked her to bring. And he took the gifts and wanted to know what kind of business she needed. She makes a request saying that her son would like to marry Jasmine. So, by these were some very expensive jewels, he wanted them. So he said, come back in 40 days and I give you an answer. So she gave him the jewels, and she went home and told Aladdin of the exchange. So one day before the 40 days came up, Aladdin had heard that Jasmine was due to get married to like the head man in charge. Like, I can't think what they call him, but like one of the head men had a son, and the king had promised him that Jasmine married his son. So he basically lied to get the jewels. And when Aladdin mama found out, she told Aladdin. So what Aladdin did was, every time when they decided to go to bed, he had his genie to bring Jasmine and her husband to his bedroom. And when they get there, he will put her husband in a trance to stand at the door of the wall while he was able to interact with Jasmine. And he did this for a lot of days. This kept coming back and having a genie bring them every night. So Jasmine ended up liking Aladdin, and she grew very furious with her dad for not honoring what he told Aladdin mama. So he decides to annul the marriage, and when he annulled the marriage, his mother, Aladdin mama, came back after the 40 days, and she basically propositioned him with the even more, a bigger gift. He told her if Aladdin offer a bigger gift, he will accept the marriage. So Aladdin come back with the even more gifts that had slaves to carry them in to the kingdom. And he was so pleased with it, he told him that he will write a contract for them to get married. So Aladdin went and had the genie to build a palace for him and Jasmine to live in. And once they got the palace, he went and he married Jasmine, and they lived in a palace that was adjacent from the her dad's kingdom. So they lived there, and Aladdin wasn't like a kingdom person. He wanted to go out into the public, and he always threw money, and he was very praised for helping out the people. So the African magician who tricked him into the cave one day thought of him and was like, I wonder if Aladdin ever got out the cave. Well, through sorcery, he found out that Aladdin wasn't dead. He was alive. He's now in royalty, and he's using a lamp. So the magician had came to where Aladdin was and found somebody to make 12 lamps. And when the lamps was ready, he came into town making a fuss, saying he giving out new lamps for old lamps. And he made such a ruckus that it came back to Jasmine, and her slaves told her about this man offering lamps. If you have a lamp, give him your old lamp, and he'll give you a brand new shiny lamp. So one of the slaves was like, Aladdin have a lamp up in his possession. He would love to get a new lamp. So she give a lamp to Jasmine. Jasmine take it to the man. And when the man get the lamp, he appeared to be something else, but he appeared back to his normal self, and he takes Jasmine, the palace, and everybody in the palace, and take them to Africa. So Aladdin was on a hunting trip for a couple of days, and the dad went to sleep. The king went to sleep. When he woke up, he always wake up and look over there at his daughter kingdom. When he woke up, the kingdom was gone. And when he noticed that the kingdom was gone, he had sent for Aladdin with his soldiers to arrest him. And Aladdin found out, he had asked them to give him some time to get the kingdom and Jasmine. If he couldn't get it, then they could have his life. So Aladdin rubbed his ring, not knowing that the ring was also had a genie in it too. And this was the ring that the uncle had gave him to trick him in the cave. So the genie came and he asked them who took the lamp. The genie couldn't tell because they was disconnected. So he asked the genie, well, can you take me to the palace? The genie took him to the palace. So he went to the palace and hid his identity. He went to a pharmacy, got some powder, and he took the powder and he got Jasmine to ask for the magician to meet with him. And when you meet with him, he said, get him a drink. And y'all change cups. So when he changed cups, you get him your cup. Her cup had the poison. So she gave him the poison, and he died. Aladdin was able to get the palace and everyone back to China where they originally came from. So the uncle had a brother. The brother was in sorcery too. Found out that Aladdin had his brother killed, and that he got the lamp. So the brother was able to find a way to get back to, well, China to get Aladdin. And when he got there to Aladdin, he killed the holy lady and tricked Jasmine into thinking he was the holy lady, and she invited him to live in the kingdom. There, well, when she went to the kingdom, Aladdin noticed that it was a trick. He faked the headache, and when he had the holy lady to try to heal him, he noticed the holy lady had a knife and was trying to kill him, so Aladdin killed him first. And they basically are happily ever after. The next one is talk about how is it different from the television, the TV shows, and the characters. I think it's different because of, well, the African magician pretended to be his uncle rather than a stranger, how the movie shows. And also, it was a ring in the story that went with the lamp. And it also showed how it enslaved slaves of the vessel to grant your requests instead of wishes. It wasn't no 3 wishes. Whatever you asked for, it commanded. And he used to send his mother gifts along with the proposal for Sultan permission to marry the princess. So I see those different from both. What do you think the purpose of this story is? I think it's teaching a lesson of being deceitful and to not cheat your way through life. Aladdin wanted things to be handed to him, which was fine, but it also came with the price, which people was always after him in his life because he had something that was magical. How does the Arabic folktale compare to the West African folktale read in week 1? Well, they both taught a lesson that could teach a children and entertain them. Aladdin tale was about Aladdin and the Wonderful Lamp, whereas Elijah was a West African tale, but it was all how they made bad decisions and the repercussions it is to making a bad decision. How does the Arabic folktale compare to the Chocolate tales? Well, they both was fake stories that was make-believe, but they all taught a lesson about making bad decisions and using people, and it taught a lesson. All the tales came from the continent of Africa. Okay, and how does the Arabic folktales compare with the legend of Mulan? Well, Mulan, well, both of them was about helping older people. Well, Aladdin daddy was an older man who wanted his son to have a professional living. And Mulan tale was how her dad was too old to fight in the war. So she pretended to be a man to help out her elderly father. And both of them was basically showing how it was a hero in both stories. What would you say that is the distinctive feature about the Arabic story that is different from anything we read so far? I would say this Arabic story is different because the main focus was to entertain and teach a lesson. It was meant to capture your imaginations. It showed you magic, trickery, and it had details to show you how Aladdin went from poor to rich. And it never really changed how the original story was. it still kept the main focus, even though it had different twists and turns, like the ring.